Hi, Jim Overdorf from Grays. Just touching base with you. About a week or so ago, I showed you two old English military saddles from World War II, and that are being played still to this day. And I just wanted to touch base and update you on what I found, which was pretty cool. This saddle was made for a regiment, evidently, an English or Scottish regiment in August of 1944 on the 22nd. This saddle was probably built, of course, in 44 towards the end of the war, and they must have been reusing parts at that point because of the repair that I found inside. And the saddle has no indication of it being opened before this time. So like different tack patterns or anything like that. It was just original. And instead of using rivets, they actually use screws and nuts, as you could see, which you never see. I mean, this is rare, and I figured if it lasts this long, we're leaving the nuts and the bolts inside. Typically, I would upgrade and update the rivets. The second saddle, which does not need a new seat, is just needing some restitching and perhaps a little tightening up in the seam here. See how it's popping? It's popping on the other side, so I'll just restitch that line until it gets into some better stitching on either end. And again, the underskirt also needs a little attention, but nothing that can't be fixed. This saddle was built in 1941. It's very faint, and I did not see this until I showed the owner, but he saw it before me in the sunlight. It says it's pretty much June of 1941. Now, this saddle was riveted. This is what you would want to find in a head plate and a gullet plate right here. And the gullet plate is actually copper. When I went to dismantle the saddle, the screwdriver scraped the plate, and thinking maybe it was just the reaction of the metal and the leather. This is actually really a copper, which you never find, you would never see. It's very expensive, but this is just before or at the beginning of the war in England, and so in a 3-year time period, you see the different approaches that they were using for the military. Of course, rivets, by the time 44 rolled around, of course, they were probably using it more for planes and tanks and jeeps and everything like that. So sometimes you find really interesting things inside of saddles, but not quite like this, and this is very unique, so I thought I'd share that with you. And in the next go around, I will probably be showing you the seat being sewn and reusing the original flaps jockey flaps that will give the saddle some of its original aesthetic, trying to keep it as historically accurate and close to the original as we could get. This is a pigskin seat, which they used back then. I still use it today. And the other effect that probably this one's better, which is a very old practice. The saddler actually initialed the saddle before he closed it. And that's something I still do to this day when I make a new saddle. Sign and date the saddle. That's an old practice, but the same guy built both saddles 3 years apart, so we know we made it that far. So again, thank you very much. I thought I'd share that with you, and next time you see these saddles, they'll probably look a little more like a saddle with the flaps and the billets attached to them. So thank you very much. Bye bye.